me now is Nathan Harte. He's the CFO at Avino Gold and Silver Mines. Great to see you again.
Great to be here.
First off, a little disclosure to everybody. I do own the shares, so we get that out of the way.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm guessing you do. A lot more than I have. So let's get up to speed on the story. We've talked before about the 5-year growth plan. You're going from 1 asset to 3. You're bringing La Preciosa into production sometime next year. And then you've got the Oxide Tailings Project. That should be operational by 28 or so. So can you just sort of connect all those dots for us?
For sure, yeah. Obviously, La Preciosa being our, the Avino asset is already in production, 2.5 to 3 million ounces of silver equivalents, producing at about $20 an ounce right now, good margins. But really what's going to drive our growth is La Preciosa. So we got the underground permits in January of 2025, and then immediately started getting ready to start blasting. So we started blasting right in the beginning of the second quarter, and have now put in about 350 meters of development. And we've intersected both the main veins that we're going to start mining, Gloria and Abundancia. And so we've started getting some development ore up to surface already, started stockpiling a little bit. And the goal is to get a decent amount of tonnage to the mill this year, with obviously a bit more consistent production coming next year. And we looked at about 1 million ounces of silver equivalent next year.
So La Preciosa is high grade, and I think it was David Wolfen, your CEO, who said 2026 is going to be a breakout year. So what does that mean, and can you quantify the impact of La Preciosa on production and revenue and bottom line?
For sure. So starting with production, it's going to add about 1 million ounces, and that's just shifting the feed mix at our mill. We have a 2,500 ton per day mill with 4 independent circuits, so we can just kind of fold La Preciosa in. And just because it's higher grade, we're going to be running at the same throughput rate between the two, but because La Preciosa is high grade silver, we'll get up to about 3.5 million ounces. And on the revenue side, I think you tell me what the silver price is, I could probably tell you what the revenue is. But at current prices, that's going to be a pretty significant jump. We should see, an additional 30-40 million in revenue. And obviously to the bottom line, we expect to be producing at similar levels in costs to what we're doing at Avino, because we are experts in underground mining, and we like to pride ourselves in our cost structure.
And the company also recently bought the royalties and the payments on La Preciosa. So how does that impact the financial profile?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's not very often that an operator has a chance to buy back royalties on a property. They're usually not for sale.
Yeah.
So basically what that does, it just returns more of the value back to shareholders and stakeholders, and lowers the cost profile. Obviously all those figures would have been in our AISC and our cash cost numbers. So we're very happy about that. So we paid about 13 million to retire the royalties, and there was about 8.5 million or 8.75 million in a contingent payment associated with that. That was contingent on us going into production. Obviously, we'd already forecasted for that, so we just turned that into a 1-year loan. So 22 million overall, but really we paid 13 million to retire the royalties.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the recent quarter, robust numbers, revenue up 47%, EBITDA higher by 118. Are there any sort of rough numbers you can project into next 26?
Improvements, I guess, is kind of the easy one to say. Again, you tell me what the silver price is, I can tell you that.
So what is that? what is that math though when you look at it?
Well, so we're going to add 1 million ounces. That's kind of that's our plan right now. Is to add, so if you add 1 million ounces at $40 silver, if you're getting paid on most of those or all those, you're looking at $35-40 million in additional revenue. And our current margins at Avino have been around 50-55%. La Preciosa will, it's as we bring it online and start, with some development, it'll be a little higher cost at the beginning, but once we smoothen it out, we hope that it has similar profit margins as Avino or better.
So like $14-15?
Yeah. Long term, I think that's the goal, is that we have La Preciosa operating around $15 all in.
Okay, excellent. Lastly, we know silver's doing well.
Yes.
Silver stocks are doing well. Juniors are doing well. Everything's racing, including yours. So Avino up more than 300% in the last year or so. You've been added to the S&P TSX Global Mining Index. Yeah. You're in all the major silver ETFs, SILJ, SIL, some other ones. And you also got a TSXV, the venture.
TSX 30, the 30, full board, So we were the number 5 performer for 3-year return for on the TSX, which is obviously, I think there was a number of other mining companies on there, but we were up near the top. I think us and Lundin actually were 2 of the top ones, which is obviously a fantastic achievement for us, as shareholders, but also as management of the company. We like to think we've been pretty good stewards of capital and of shareholders, investments. But yeah, that's kind of the big one. I think, in comparing us to our peers, we still have a very high leverage to silver and an organic growth strategy. We don't have to go out and buy anything. We just need to develop and execute on our own assets, and that gets us to 8 to 10 million ounces by 2029, which at current prices would give us a very, very healthy valuation, much higher than where we are now.
Right. So, and just lastly, in terms of the stock price, it has consolidated recently in the last couple of weeks. What would you say? The stock is sort of over its skis a little bit. Is it undervalued, or
we still consider it undervalued? I mean, we're trading slightly below NAV, I think now, based on the analyst consensus. And you look at other silver producers, and they trade at a higher multiple. Like, that's just the way it is. And most of our, most analysts and everyone in the street is still looking at it at kind of a $30 or $35 silver level. At current prices at spot, we definitely think we're undervalued.
Great stuff, Nathan. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Nathan Harte, he is the CFO at Avino Silver and Gold Mines.